building email drip campaigns that convert sales. And just to get started real quick, I assume if you're here that you are familiar with the concept of email drip marketing, email drip campaigns. But at the most basic level, what is an email drip campaign? It's an automated marketing campaign that basically sends a number of emails out to a prospect over time, just to get that out of the way. Why is this so important in today's world, and maybe why you've taken time out of your day to be here? Whether you realize this or not, when you're a salesperson or if you have salespeople that work for you, they're going to run into no. You more likely face more no's than yeses. And the reality is that many of those no's that you hear from prospects, they're not saying no, never. Really, when they say no, a lot of times they're saying no, not right now. Maybe they are a company that purchases what you sell from time to time, and you've called them at a particular moment where they don't need what you have. Maybe they are locked into an agreement with a current provider and they can't make any changes. So when they say no, I'm not interested, a lot of times they're just saying no, not right now. So the reality is that especially if you're doing outbound lead generation, outbound prospecting, to be able to time it perfectly so that you call someone or send someone a one-to-one email at the exact time that they are in buying mode or looking to buy what you sell, the odds of that are fairly low. It doesn't mean to not do that, but you just need to you need to reinforce your efforts with some other tools and processes like email drip marketing, because what email drip allows you to do is it allows you to stay fresh in someone's mind. Even knowing you haven't met in a while, when they receive your emails, they're reminded of you. And hopefully if you design your email campaigns correctly, they're reminded of you in a positive way, or they're continuing to learn more about you. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to be at the top of mind when they get closer to needing what you have. And what this does is it might be impossible for you to call them back at the right moment, but having those emails drip over time allows you to be there when the time is right. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a structured process that you can go through to build your email drip campaigns and to build campaigns that work in helping you to increase sales and convert sales. So step one is you basically, maybe you've already done this, but you need to collect and curate all your email addresses that you have, or you need to build some sort of list. And so some of the places you can go to do that, and this might be sort of elementary, but bear with me. You can first look at your existing systems. So maybe you use some sort of CRM. Obviously, that's going to be a great place to grab email addresses for your email drip campaigns and email marketing. You also might want to look in your accounting system. You might have a lot of current clients and customer information in your accounting system with contact email addresses. You might want to do some sort of export out of your email applications like your Outlook, or if you use Gmail or whatever, you likely have a ton of email addresses in there. The next place that you can look is you could buy a list of target prospects for the particular area that you focus on. Going to somewhere like LeadFerret is one of our strategic partners that we work closely with. They're a database that you can go to purchase lists. Other resources are Sales Genie, one you may have heard of, ZoomInfo. So those are examples of places that you could go, put in the type of prospect you're looking for, and get a large list of contacts and sometimes email addresses. Probably one of the most valuable or important places for you to gather and collect email addresses will be from your website traffic. If you're not using any sort of process, tools, methodology for getting email addresses from the people that visit your website, you're missing out on probably some of the most qualified email addresses and qualified people to add to your email marketing. And some of the ways to do that is to design your website so that you have call to action buttons or steps. These are things that are enticing to a visitor to get them to opt in to your email marketing list. And so we could talk a little bit about what that looks like, but a quick example might be a form that if they put in their email address, they get a white paper, an ebook, some sort of quote, access to something. If you have that your website designed correctly to capture a certain percentage of your website visitors, capture some of their email addresses, then you can put an emphasis on driving traffic to your website, maybe putting some money behind that in the area of pay-per-click advertising, search engine optimization. So another place that you can look might be, you might have different accounts on social media. You could export those connections, those contacts, and those could be a great addition to your email database. Another place to get email addresses might be phone prospecting. You or someone on your team, it hits the phones and makes calls in order to try to schedule appointments, generate leads. The prospects that that are spoken to, whether there's an appointment scheduled or a lead generated or not, those are great people to gather an email address for and to add those people to your email marketing list. So these are some resources. So that's a process you kind of want to go through. Maybe you've already done that if you're here today and you're ready to learn more. So let's just get that out of the way and then move to this should be actually step 2. So step 2 is to segment your list. And this is really important because we need to divide up that marketing list, that email database, because there's all sorts of different contacts on that, and we need to communicate and market to those contacts in different ways. I guess, I'm a firm believer in crawl, walk, run. So if you were just to really focus on crawling first, you could set up your email marketing and send the same emails to everybody, that entire list. Okay, and that's better than probably nothing. But if you really want to get sophisticated, you should have different campaigns inside your list. Your list should be divided into different sub lists. And so let's talk about some of those main categories real quick. One is you have your suspects, and what these look like is these are the people that you've never spoken to. They don't know who you are. A good example of these contacts are maybe a list that you've purchased. So you want to label these as prospects. All you have is their company, their name, their email address. The next category is prospects. And these are people that have been qualified a little bit more. You could either have these as contacts and leads that have been pre-qualified, but I would say, well, first of all, if they've opted in on your website and added them, gone through the step to add themselves to your list, then they're a prospect. But you could label someone as early in the process as you've had a 2 to 5 minute cold call conversation with them, and you could promote them from a suspect to a prospect. But basically, these are probably anybody that's above, that you're targeting to sell to, that is more than just somebody's name on a website or on a list. The other category is current clients or clients and customers. So these are people that you're doing business with and have purchased from you. Now you could have a subcategory underneath this label of past customers. So you could have subcategories of current customers and past customers. Whether you do that subcategorization or not, it probably depends on maybe what email marketing software you use and how sophisticated you can get with your email drip marketings. But if you at least have a segment for your customers, that's a good start. And then the last segment that we want to focus on are referral partners. Now, there might be a lot of people out there that would likely never buy from you, but you need to stay fresh in their mind because they could refer business to you. And good examples of these might be your family and friends. Those are great people to send business your way, but you never really want to sell to them, and they not only would you not probably want to sell directly to them, but they probably don't fit your target prospect profile. But you need to stay fresh in their mind, and email marketing, email drip campaigns are a great way to do that. So that's step 3. Just sort of divide your list, and again, if you're using any type of email marketing software, you should be able to create individual separate lists and then assign each contact to one of those lists. Now we need to develop content, and this is probably the one of the more difficult steps for someone. Signing up for an email marketing software application is, it's easy to sign up that form and put in your credit card or to pick one. But it's what you load up into that system to send people. This is the piece of the process that's really going to slow you down and make it difficult for you to continue to move forward. You run into this wall where you might say, you might think to yourself, okay, what am I supposed to send to these people? And how often should I send it? So I'm going to show you 2 categories of different types of content that you can send. And the first category is prospect focused content. So an easy way to think of this is content that is more geared towards your prospect. And this is probably actually the type of content that most people don't think about sending. And so it's the type of content that you're sending tips and information, helpful information to your prospect. So you might send them tips on how to do something the best way, how to make something work better, how to make improvements, how to solve common problems. And so examples of what this content might look like is you might have an article that you've either found out on the internet, or you've written it yourself, or a blog post on that has some helpful information. It could be a white paper, it could be a video, it could be an ebook, but you can develop this content, or you can have this content developed, and you could either send the whole piece of content through an email to a prospect. A more effective way to do it is to send a preview of the content or a promotion of the content that's available and in the email, and then have the contact that you send it to click through the email to get to some sort of landing page or website to get the full piece of content. So if you're thinking, well, okay, that sounds okay, or I kind of know what you're talking about there, but I don't really know how to get started. The way that you can start to spend some time developing this content for yourself is you can start to look at the value and benefits that your products and services offer. Let me give you an example. So Sales Scripter, a software solution that my company provides, it helps sales managers to shorten the amount of time it takes to train their salespeople. So that's something I help to improve new salespeople onboarding. So if I look at my solution, I can identify that's a benefit that I offer. Well, then I could develop content around that benefit. So the content might not say how I help to and how my product helps to do that. I might develop content around the impacts of decreasing new hire ramp up time. So again, I'm not saying we will do this for you. I'm not saying we will do this for you by doing it this way. I'm saying here are some things you might want to think about with decreasing this, or here are ways that you could consider decreasing this. So look at the benefits that you offer. You also might want to look at the problems that your products help to resolve. So let me give you another example. My software may help a sales manager to decrease the turnover of their salespeople. That's a big problem. And so I could develop a blog post that says that's maybe around the costs associated with sales staff turnover. So that blog is a derivative of a pain point that I help to fix. And so the way that you arrive at those content topics is looking at the benefits and the problems that you help to fix, and you could develop videos or content on that. So but the key is that this category, if you look the parentheses there where that says them, this content's all about them. So it's really sort of value. It's not salesy. You're being an advisor. You're being a helper by sending this type of information. The other category is about you. So this is product focused. So this is more about me. And some examples of the type of info. So you could create content and send this through emails in your email drip campaign. A great place to look are the FAQ, the answers to frequently asked questions. So if people are always asking you how long does it take to get set up, then a great content piece might be the getting set up on our product. And it's okay in this category to talk about you and to talk about your products. Common objection responses. So maybe a common objection that you hear is that it's too difficult to switch providers. And so you could develop a piece of content around the misconceptions of switching providers. It's easier than you think. Maybe talk about that. You could have content that's focused on promotions, end of year discounts, whatever, differentiation, product updates and announcements, detailed product info. You could develop content around your company. So if you have some bragging points about your company, some company facts, case studies about clients that you've helped. So you could develop this content. You could brainstorm these areas, and again develop either write-ups or emails or whatnot, stuff that either can be sent out in emails or clips of bigger pieces of content that could again drive people back to your website. But those are two categories, and what you want to do is you want to start creating content in those two categories, and you might either be bored with hearing about this topic right here, or this might be, I can guarantee, I'm probably pretty sure you're not getting excited about this step because it's really difficult, but it's critical to email drip marketing. If you're going to be dripping emails over time to somebody, there's going to have to be some content behind that. So it's very important. And just think about these two categories, and when you keep those, and then I would keep the content separate, and know which category. If you produce a piece of content, know that this is prospect focused, or be aware of it's product focused. Still staying with the content piece, I just want to show you two different types of email formats that you can use. The first is sort of a plain text one-to-one email. This is just sort of a screenshot of one, and if you notice, this is designed to be a one-to-one, meaning I'm a salesperson and I'm sending this one email to you, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect. Now, you can use email software to actually deliver an email that looks this way to 1,000 people at once, and use automation. So it's really one-to-many, but the format is one-to-one. And what I would encourage you to do when you use this format is to really make it look like it's one-to-one. One of your goals with when you're sending prospecting emails, you want to do what you can to avoid your email being deleted like immediately. And a lot of people want to design their email so that it gets read and it gets acted upon. Well, another way to go about it is let me design my email so that somebody doesn't look at it and in 2 seconds hit delete. I mean, if we at least extend that to where they have to glance at it and think about it, I mean, that's a huge improvement. If you can at least go from a 2 second glance and delete to where they have to look at it for 10 seconds and then they might delete it, or they still there's still a decent delete rate, but you've at least gotten them to kind of look at it a little bit more closely. You're going to have that's a huge improvement in my book. And there are small things you can do to make that improvement. And so what I encourage people to do is to not use hyperlinks in emails, so which is like making text in a sentence like link to a certain web page. I think it's okay for you to send links to web pages in your plain text email, but if I were to talk to someone and I say, okay, I'm going to send you an email right now with a couple things about what we said, and then I type up an email, I send them to them, I typically don't make any of the email hyperlinks, right? That's something that you do when you're sending more of a one-to-many. So you want the email to appear to be one-to-one, because if it appears to be one-to-many, then people can delete it quicker. Think about when you're checking mail from in your mailbox, your physical mailbox. As soon as you see an envelope that has a bunch of colors and images on the envelope, you know that somebody did not send this to you personally, so you can tear it up without even opening it or seeing who it's from almost. But compare that to an envelope that has the address handwritten. If an envelope has an address handwritten, you're going to look closely at it and you're going to open it. You're going to see what the heck it is. So make your emails look like a handwritten envelope, and so there's some small things you can do that. This image right here on the screen is actually an email template that's produced by SalesScripter. So a shameless plug right here. If you actually go through SalesScripter, and by the way, I was also talking about pain points that you help to fix and value points and benefits that you offer. That's one of the things that SalesScripter will do, is it'll take you through a process to brainstorm and figure out all those points, and then what it does is it provides you with these prospecting email one-to-one email templates that you could then use in your drip marketing. The other type of template or email format that I want to show you is an HTML format, and this is a one-to-many. So, and this is actually one of our email templates that's the image here that we send, and one similar that you might have received to sign up to join this webinar. But this is more of a one. You're not hiding the fact. We're not trying to make the handwritten envelope with this email. It's obvious that this is an email going out to a lot of people, and so we're not ashamed by that. And there are certain times when we want to send this type of format, but this typically has images and looks more professional, and it typically has more of a corporate, coming from a company type of feel. And I'll show you when you might want to send either of those types of formats. So let's get to actually building. Let's get to building the campaigns, these different email drip campaigns for those different audiences that you've segmented your list into. Again, I'm not going to talk too much about any different email software applications here. I'm not really. I don't endorse any particular software. If you have questions about some in particular, we can talk about those. But there's a few different ones that I've used. But what I'm here to help you with is how to structure the individual campaigns, and typically you'll be able to do what we're showing you here today in any different email marketing software. But there are when you're building your campaigns, there are 3 different pursuit levels that I want you to keep in mind, and one is very persistent. So this is I'm giving you a few different frequency options of how often to send emails. But when you're in persistent mode, this is the highest a level of approach, and you could send an email once per day, every other day, a couple times a week. once per week. So this is I'm hitting you with a lot of emails, and I'm going to send these on a never-ending basis until you basically unsubscribe. So I'm going to continue to add emails to, or until I guess I run out of content to send you. Then we have a medium level, which is I'm gonna hit you maybe either twice in 1 week or once per week, and I'm only gonna try to contact you or send you 3 to 6 emails, and then I might shift gears a bit. And then we have a subtle free pursuit level, which is just I'm in the background and I'm gonna send you one per week, maybe one every other week, maybe one per month, or one per quarter. And so this is just a very subtle, ongoing. You're gonna continuously get an email from me, but not just in your face. So these are 3 different levels to think about. Now what we can do is now we're going to put everything I just showed you together that you can apply to structuring individual email drip campaigns. So if we go back and we start with the suspects. Now remember, these are the contacts that we have on a list of that we purchased. We maybe know that there's a Fortune 500 company that's either in our territory or around the corner from our office, and we pulled some contacts off of LinkedIn. They don't know who we are, but we know who the key people we need to talk to are. So we're dealing with suspects. Now the type of content that we want to send them is we want to send them our prospect focused content. So this is content around problems that they might be experiencing, improvements they might be interested in making. The pursuit level, we're going to do a medium. And we're not going to do the persistent because we need to really have a focused approach, but they're not qualified. So we don't want to just kind of like just bombard the person. So we use a medium pursuit level. And the email format is going to be that plain text one-to-one type of email. So we're going to hit them with 3 to 6 of these plain text emails, and I would recommend also some phone calls and other multi-touch attempts, but that's the email drip campaign for the suspects. Now notice I'm not including the HTML marketing info. Me personally, if you ever think about just opening up your email box and you have a marketing email in the HTML format for a company that you've never heard of, I feel like that's sort of a violation. You've been opted in without opting in. And so without your permission, you try to stay away from that. And the way to kind of get softly around that is by using more of a plain text approach and making it look one-to-one, to where you look more like a salesperson but then being added to a marketing list. But that's the type of campaign that you can build for your suspects. Now, hopefully our suspects grow into prospects, or we have existing contacts that are on our prospect list. And what we can send to these people, we can send them, not only can we send them our helpful information, but because they're prospects, maybe we can start to mix in information about us. So let's say this is somebody that we've met with and we've had a 20-minute phone meeting. Well, now that person, we can start to hit them up with some FAQ type of content or objection response type of content that's more because they know a little bit more about us and their prospects. The pursuit level, we can be persistent with this at this level. A good example of this might be somebody who opts in to your list from your website. And so if you opt in on my website, and what you'll get our ebooks. You're going to get an email from us every other day, I believe is the frequency. That might switch to every 3 days, a few as you get into that particular email drip campaign. But you're going to get a lot of emails, and the reason why is we can be persistent with you because you're a prospect of ours. We can treat you differently than somebody who is on a list who doesn't know who we are. The format, I can hit you with both. I can either send you some plain text, or I can send you HTML type of marketing content, either both or a mix, or uh, that's kind of up to your choice. Moving on to the next segment. So now we have our existing our customers. These are either our current customers or past customers, and so the content that we can send them is similar to the last to our prospects. We want to continue to hit them up with helpful information that they might find interesting. We can also share with them some product updates, some common questions that are asked. We're changing here the pursuit level. So because these are customers that have purchased from us, we don't really want to be persistent. We want to kind of ease up a bit, but we want to stay fresh in their mind, let them know we're there. Probably primarily going to use the HTML type of formal company communications. So key things that you want to think about differently here is, for your existing customers, you want to use this campaign to maybe cross-sell. If you know someone has purchased a product A and you have product B also, this is a great campaign that you can use to promote product B to customers of product A. The other thing that you can use this type of campaign for is for people that cancel. So if you can have you ever canceled something, and then you start to get an your email saying we'd love to have you back, and here's a discount if you come back. So this is a great time or way to establish that level of marketing. Now that is a bit sophisticated, so you have to have decent level of email marketing software to have those categories and be able to trigger that automation and manage that. The last category is referral partners. So again, these are friends and family. These could be also other industry vendors. So maybe somebody who does something different than what we do, but they sell to the same people. Well, we need to continue to communicate to these people and remind them that we're out there and what we do, and to stay fresh in their mind so that they can refer business to us. So we can send them both types of information: the helpful information, also some information about us. The pursuit level is going to be subtle, so we might hit this list up once a month. That's up to you, and then we can use that more formal HTML format of the email. So that's kind of how you can build your email drip campaigns and put all those different pieces together. The other thing to think about is you can sort of have two different approaches with email drip marketing, meaning passive or proactive. So passive might be, I'm gonna just continue to email market and drive people to my website and drive people back to me, and I'll talk to the people that contact me, which, think of that as sort of passive, right? You could also be proactive, which means I'm going to broadcast and do these email drip campaigns like I just showed you, but you're also going to call the people, the prospects and suspects, or current customers, and you're going to interact with them in a specific way that you're from the data that you're gathering from your email marketing. So let me explain that a little bit. Most email marketing software applications will provide you really cool data, such as who's clicking on your emails, maybe who's forwarding them. Well, that's great data to figure out who to call. So if you send out let's just say 100 emails, and let's say 5% clicked on a link in your email, so you have 5 clicks. Well, those 5 people are great people for you to reach out to. If you're going to do any reaching out at all, you at least know who to call out of the 100. So just think of that as proactive, really proactive email marketing, where you're including follow-up calls. Again, the topic here is converting sales, so that the way to convert sales is, one is staying fresh in their mind, so that if you meet with someone and they say no, you just don't, never go back. You use that email drip to bring them back to you when they're ready. So, and then to take that one step further, you can add phone calls and phone prospecting to improve your conversion rate as well. When you put all that together, you can end up with a funnel like this. At the top you have suspects, where you're just trying to generate leads and turn people, suspects, into prospects. And then you can work that your email list down this funnel, working your contacts to where they become clients. Then maybe they become past clients, past customers, and then kind of communicating to everybody in some way, quarterly or monthly, so you stay fresh in everybody's mind. And a contact could enter at any stage. They don't just have to, of this funnel, they don't just have to enter at the top. Maybe they come into your website and opt into a landing page form, and then so they're entering at that second stage, which is prospects. So in theory, you can actually move contacts, depending on how you manage your email marketing software. You could move a contact from one list to another. You physically, maybe, or you could create automation, depends again on your software. But someone goes from a prospect list over to a customer email drip list. So if you do follow up on a prospect after they've clicked on your email, a lot of people might say, well, what do you say? You have this great data here of these 5 people that clicked on your email. By the way, I said 100 people and 5 people clicked. When you really do email marketing right, whether it's getting the database together and doing, you're going to be dealing with larger numbers than that. And so you have these 100 leads of people or more that have clicked on your email that are primed to receive a call. What do you say? And so actually this is a call script right here that's pulled out of SalesScripter as well. SalesScripter provides an email follow-up call script, and so this is some of the language. But you get someone on the phone and you can say something like, hey, yeah, the reason why I'm reaching out to you is I sent you an email with some information and I want to follow up with you. I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at it or not. So I personally like that sort of, that they clicked on it, so they saw it, but you don't want to call them and say, hey, I saw you clicked on a link in an email. The way I see the world, that's a bit Big Brother-ish. So you kind of want to just play a little dumb, even knowing they clicked on it. So like, hey, I don't know if you had a chance to see it or not. And also, by the way, they may have clicked on the email, but here you are calling them and they've clicked on a bunch of emails. So maybe they don't know who you are. So it's okay if you kind of operate it with like, hey, I'm not sure if you saw it or not. It gives them an excuse or feel okay for not knowing who you are, and then you could kind of feel it out. This script kind of allows you to feel it out. Like if they know who you are and what you're talking about, you could ask them some direct questions about the email. So if they say something like, oh yeah, I saw that, it was interesting or whatever, then you could ask them some email related questions. Oh, was that helpful? Is that what you're looking for? Is there any other information on that topic that you would be interested in seeing? So you can you're using the email as a reason to talk to them, and then you can work your way towards asking them some of the qualifying questions that might allow you to sell more of your products or services. But then, if you kind of say, hey, I don't know if you had a chance to see that or not, and they kind of give you an answer that makes it sound like they don't have any idea who you are, what you're talking about, then don't put them on the spot, and ask them about the email. Just skip that and then jump right into like treating it like a cold call. Like, because if they say, I don't know what email you're talking about. Okay, yeah, it's not that important. Hey, if I could ask you real quick, how concerned are you about the amount of time, blah blah blah. So that's pretty much it. I'll open it up for questions. Here's my contact info if you want to reach me directly.